Hi guys, welcome to today's video. My name is Larissa L and you are on my YouTube channel, Parker Kate. Today we are going to be looking at the new Charlotte Tilbury launch, the Look of Love collection, and seeing what she has to offer in this new collection and if it's worth your money or not. If you're ready to play with some makeup and kind of figure out this collection, then let's go ahead and jump on it. Alright, so let's get into the two main courses. If you want, I think I'm hungry, it's food. The two main items in the Look of Love collection, and those are her face palettes. So her face palettes are basically a 5-minute face to go palette. She has two of these for the new collection, and I'm going to show you what they look like. Now this is the lighter, more cool tone one, as you can see. So eyeshadows, highlighter, blush, bronzer, and then a face powder. And then in the kind of like the darker or the more warmer tone palette called Glowing Beauty. Again, eyeshadow shades, highlight, blush, contour, and a face setting powder. I will show you them side by side so you guys can get like a good look at them. Glowing Beauty and then Pretty Blushed Beauty. Now before we dive in and start testing these palettes out, I have to address one very tiny but big problem. These are supposed to be universal palettes. And when you have a face powder in a palette that is for medium to deep skin tone, and it looks like this, and it's not translucent, that's where I would take some issue with especially the medium to deep palette, because that's not a deep tone. I mean, you can use that as maybe a brow bone shade or an eyeshadow or kind of like to set something, but I'm just going to swatch that. Like that is not a medium to deep powder, and that's just what I'm going to say about that. If you're going to have a face palette that is geared towards deeper or warmer skin tones, like a medium to deep, that powder should have been translucent. Let's go ahead and talk about the formula and the layout of these palettes, because they are very different than her typical instant look in a palettes that she's had previously. So this one is her Stoned Rose Beauty palette, and I'm just going to show you what they look like. So in this one, as you can see, you have two blush shades, a highlighter, and a contour shade. So instead of the two blushes like the regular one, she has moved the highlighter here, and it's one blush, highlighter, and put the face powder where the highlighter used to be. There are some different formulas she's included in the two new palettes. She's put in the airbrush powder. So if you're familiar with Charlotte Tilbury, the airbrush powder is a finely milled, micro milled, beautiful formula, like a cream to powder formula. And then the last kind of add-on that she did to these palettes were the eyeshadow formula. So it's the #1 eyeshadow in the Pretty Blush palette, and then the #2 eyeshadow in the Glowing Beauty palette. And this is called her Diamond Filter Sparkle Topper formula. And basically it's going to be like a very reflective, skin-like, micro-milled finish eyeshadow formula for those two in these palettes. Alright, let's get into some demonstration time. So on this side of my face, I'm going to be using the cool tone or the lighter palette, the Pretty Blush Beauty palette, and then on this side, the more of the medium to warmer tone, which is called the Glowing Beauty. I think it's called Glowing Beauty. Yeah, the Glowing Beauty palette. So let's start off with the cool tone, and like I said, #1 is supposed to be that beautiful sparkly new formula for the eyeshadow, and we're just going to go ahead and apply it. Now on my eyes, I just have concealer and powder, so let's zoom you guys in. Hello my friends. So 1 is to brighten, and you're supposed to apply it with your finger, so I'm just going to apply it with my finger. So when you swipe, you kind of take off the top layer and you get down to like a more rose goldy layer. And I'm just going to start putting that on my eyelid. So it's a lot more champagne-y pink than pink. I was expecting it to be a little bit more pink. So it's like a taupey kind of bronzy color. And then #3 is the smoke shade. So we're gonna go ahead and then bring it up to the crease. I always bring it up to the crease. And then it's a pretty pretty nice one, very easy to apply, really beautiful, very nice on, like very natural looking. Let's go ahead. I do have a little bit of blush on, and then I have like a cream highlighter on. So I don't know how well we're going to see the cream highlighter, but I'm going to go into that number 6, that beautiful blush shade. Ooh, I really like that. That's a really pretty blush. It's very pigmented. I'm going to use the same blush and then go in with that highlighter. Now it's probably showing up a little bit more reflective on me because I already have a base highlight on, but it's still really pretty. Again, in the swatch section, you'll see like the true swatches of this. Okay, so now we have that face powder, which is supposed to be like a light face powder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flat kabuki brush. I'm just going to go into that powder, which is very, very, very creamy. And I'm going to just cut my lower jaw with that. And then I'm going to go in with the darker or more warmer tone, the Glowing Beauty palette. So remember in this one, how number 2 I said was that diamond filter shade. So I will go in with my finger after, but right now I'm going to go in with a kind of flat fluffy brush for the number 1 shade. That's a really pretty shade. Okay, now I'm going to go into that second shade. And you're supposed to use this as the enhanced color, so you're supposed to put it in the crease. So I'm going to go in with the fluffy brush. And usually you're supposed to apply these kind of shades with your fingers, but we'll apply it with the brush first. Again, when you go in, you're going to have to kind of like really rub off that first layer to kind of get to the layer underneath. Yeah. So I thought it'd be a lot darker, but it's more lighter than what I was expecting. Kind of like tiny little shimmers. If you don't like shimmer, I wouldn't put this color here. Now we're going to go in with the smoke shade and a smaller brush. Oh, that's pigmented. That's a really nice chocolate brown. I'm just gonna... Wasn't expecting that to be that pigmented. I'm gonna go in with the blush. Ooh. So this one is very intense. A lot more pink to it, a lot more rose to it. Really blend that in. Zoom you guys back out a little bit. It's a little too close. So very pigmented in the blush area. The brush around to the other side. And then go in with the highlighter, which is more of a champagne highlight. Okay, so the highlighter on this one is definitely more coppery. I keep saying like champagne, but it's definitely more coppery than the other one. So I'm not going to go in with the bronzer like the other one. I'm going to go in with the face powder and kind of cut the bottom and then fix the top a little bit because it's a little, I kind of want to tone that down so it's actually perfect for that. Again, I'm going to go in with the flat kabuki brush and then the face powder. I'm going to cut that cheek and then kind of blend that harsh kind of line going on. So I look a little crazy right now. I'm going to go and finish my eye makeup and kind of tone down this area, and then we're going to get into the rest of the collection and then final like thoughts and swatch comparisons. And again, all this is going to be listed below in the description bar, so it'll be in like sections, so you don't have to watch the entire video because I know it is a long one. Okay, I'm back, and I feel like this part just looks so crazy on the camera, but it's really not that pigmented. I don't know. This is very... like that's the highlighter almost. It has a lot of color to it. So if it looks crazy on this side, it's because the darker highlighter is a little bit too dark for me and I went in way too deep with it on the side. I tried to clean it up like a little bit, but it just, I still wanted to keep it very, what it looked like for you guys to see just kind of like the difference. So I'm going to show you both the eyes. Same eyeliner and mascara on both. Again, this side is more like taupey and champagne and cool, and this one is more pink and bronzy. And I like both of them. I love the blush in the lighter palette. This one I'm going to have to use when I have a tan. I just feel like right now it is just way too dark for me, and I don't know if I'd use the highlighter. Honestly, as a highlighter, I'd probably use it as an eyeshadow because again, right now, when I don't have a tan, it's just too dark and too pigmented for me. Sorry, I just keep staring at this part of my face. It's just like, poof. I'll talk like this for the rest of it. Okay, so let's move on to up next, and that's the lipsticks that she has curated for this collection. Now, they're not new. I think the only new one is the one that I'm actually wearing. This one is called New Romance. And then the 3 other shades are Wedding Bells. Hang on, I have them right here. The 3 other shades in the collection are Mrs. Kisses, Wedding Bells, and First Dance. And those are all shades that are pre-existing in the Charlotte Tilbury line. but they've repackaged them in the same beautiful bullet as this, and they are refillable. Now, the new Romance shade, the one that I'm wearing, is a kissing formula. And if you're not familiar with the Charlotte Tilbury line, the kissing formulas are more of like the creamy lipsticks, whereas the other three that I mentioned are from the Matte Revolutionary line, which means that they are all very comfortable wearing matte. So those, again, are all repackaged in this beautiful bullet, and they are refillable. And then the last kind of relaunch, I guess, would be her Tinted Love lip and cheek stains. Now, she first launched these around the holiday time. I do have a video, like I said, reviewing these. This is bomb. I love this. This is a beautiful, comfortable, long-lasting, non-transfer proof liquid lip stain, essentially. You're not going to get that super drying alcohol feeling that you get with a lot of liquid lip stains, and the fact that it's multi-purpose and you can apply it on top of powder and blend it out and double it as a lip and cheek stain is really like a nice two-in-one product. But these are my absolute favorite. I wear this all the time. Again, I have the color Santa Euphoria, and then I have a red shade. Now, the tinted lip and cheek stains come in 5 different shades, and again, so if you do get one thing from this collection, go ahead and check out these. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I was going to do some kind of swatches and some comparisons, and that's going to be in regards to the face palettes. So about 2 years ago, Charlotte Tilbury came out with a limited edition face palette called Gorgeous Glowing Beauty, and that reminded me so much, not only the name, the Glowing Beauty, but also some of the shades are very, very similar. So I'm going to show you that in the swatch coming right up. Okay, so the top I've swatched, that is the new one, the Glowing Beauty, and then the bottom I've swatched is the Gorgeous Glowing Beauty. So that's the old one from 2 years ago, and that's the new one. Now, aside from the finishes in some of the highlight color, the number 2 shade, where this one has just like a little bit more like sparkle and that one doesn't, there really isn't that much of a difference between them. So again, this one is the Gorgeous Glowing Beauty limited edition from a couple years ago, and if you missed out on it, or if you want to do like a refill, the Glowing Beauty is very, very almost identical. And then the Pretty Blush Beauty, I don't really have anything in my collection because I got into these palettes late, so I really kind of want to see what that one looks like compared to the Stone Rose Beauty palette, so I'm going to swatch those two on my other arm. So the top is the new one, the Pretty Blush palette, and then the bottom is the Stone Rose Beauty palette. Very identical in shades. I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think that was going to be the case, that the Pretty Blush palette and the Stone Rose Beauty palette would be so similar, but they are. After swatching these compared to previous palettes, very similar palettes, again, if you have the Stone Rose Beauty palette and you like the lighter palette, the Pretty Blush palette, you might want to go ahead and skip it because, again, nearly identical except for the layout change and a little bit of tweaking on some of the formulas. And if you have the Gorgeous Glowing Beauty palette, the Glowing Beauty palette is very, very identical to that. And if you just want to kind of update it, because I know the Gorgeous Glowing Beauty palette was limited edition and it was a couple years ago, and you kind of just want to refresh it or get like a brand new one, it's essentially what you're getting in the Glowing Beauty palette. Another problem I had, especially with the one that was geared towards darker skin, the Glowing Beauty, it's not really fair to put a very light powder, even though it's supposed to be a medium to deep powder, into a palette and have it almost look like it's going to be suitable more for lighter skin tones. Both palettes should have had a translucent powder. It's just not truly universal for the Glowing Beauty, especially since it's 2021. I think that could have been reevaluated. I also think that they could have, I don't want to say it, but maybe put a little bit more effort into tweaking some of the palettes to make them look not so similar in shades, almost identical. Overall, I'm going to leave this to you guys to decide whether or not you're going to skip it or you're going to go ahead and purchase it. Let me know why or why not in the comments below. Alright guys, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!